Hey, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. We're going to have chop night of a 2021 RZR S Turbo 4-seater here at Rocky Mountain Speed and Fab. A real quick of why we're doing this. I've had a lot of questions on why are you taking a 4-seater and turning it into a 12-inch shorter wheelbase? Well, it's because we want the wheelbase to be 105 inches. The 2-seater is too short in my opinion for Ultra 4 racing in the 4900 class. The 4-seater, in my opinion, is too long. It goes back to combination car. 4900 car, you spend most of your time in the rocks, so we want it to be rock crawler capable, but also be able to run the desert high speed. So in my mind, 105 inches is the ideal wheelbase. That making it, we're gonna pull 12 inches out of the frame. That's what we're doing tonight. Enjoy as we cut a brand new Turbo S 2021 RZR in half. I've got measurements written in just about every location I can. I've got all of my cut points marked. Order of process is we got to cut the brackets off first. Cage comes back off. We're pulling out these middle section gussets temporarily. They will go back in, but we have to pull these out to access our cut points.
Always remember your ear pro.
How used is that?
Used enough to be broken in, but not too used to be ineffective.
Did you figure out how to share what we're doing right now, Zach?
Well, I'll tell you in a minute. They want me to share it as Rocky Mountain Speed and Fab.
Don't tell anybody.
So if you're wondering where we're at Joe's shop. We're here in Tabernash, Colorado. Nobody probably knows where Tabernash, Colorado is unless you live in Grant County, but it's just a nice little town here between Winter Park, Colorado, Granby, Colorado. That's where all of us live. Joe owns this sweet big shop. He was nice enough to give us a very small portion of it.
We gotta hurry up and get this done, we're gonna lose the shot!
You should let the two tall guys probably lift up the back. There we go.
Did you explain that the cage was already cut?
The cage is already cut. I think it's still touched.
I got my OSHA and Snell rated contact lenses in.
And measure twice, cut once hopefully, right down the center. Now we either have to take these out, unless you think we can do a plunge cut up into this one, and a plunge cut down into this one.
Yeah, probably
and leave this in place. When we bring the frame back together, This point comes into here because I don't want to sacrifice this bracket here, even though we're going to X-brace this all the way through and fill it in with reinforcing brackets. This guy lands right here. This guy lands right here. Plunge cut and a cut and a cut and a plunge cut and a cut and a cut and a cut and a cut.
So cut here.
Yep.
And then just up into here.
Yeah, and then this is your other cut. But before we make these two cuts, let's make this cut,
Okay.
and let's make this cut.
Okay, these two first.
Yep.
All right.
We're literally gonna cut a $25,000 razor in half. And we're gonna put it on the internet.
I'm letting Joe make the first cut.
Excellent call.
I mean, a bottle of champagne? I mean, is it like a ship, or what do you do? Maybe that's when we're done.
Yeah, smash something against it.
I would love for someone from Polaris to clarify if we still have a factory warranty. If anybody from Polaris is watching this, please let us know if this might or might not void our factory warranty. That would be great information for us to have. We seem to be throwing an awful lot of sparks around that fuel tank, fellas.
I made sure the cap was on tight, and made sure my life insurance policy was up to date.
And Hopper's a firefighter, so
I'm
we're
a
not worried
volunteer
about it.
Firefighter. I'm
Yeah, you know
allowed
what?
to do
That was a
this.
good catch, but we've drained the tank and washed it out, so we're good to go.
Yeah.
You sit on a throne of lies.
We 100% just used a Sawzall because we're all about precision, right? All right, guys, so we're cutting. It's loud, it's noisy. I go in here, it gets a little bit quieter. Joe kind of explained the why we're doing this. Let me kind of explain to you the how we got here part. A lot of guys we could blame for this, thank for this, whatever you want to say. Basically, our buddies up in Wyoming, they got us started on all this by inviting us to King of the Hammers. And I went to King of the Hammers with Hypoxic and Champ Racing 2 years ago. I came back, I told these guys, man, you've got to go, you've got to see this. And I took Joe and Jeff with me this year, and we again helped Hypoxic, and we helped Champ Racing. We helped Josh Smith Racing. We helped Berserk Off-Road, one of the only Honda Talons in the race. And when we got back, Joe said, damn, we got to do that, guys. To which our response was, Joe, we don't have any money. We can't afford to do this. But he was cool, and he said, we're going to make this happen. This is kind of something we're all into. It's kind of a dream for all of us. So Joe said, let's build a race car. So I'm going to blame you, Chase and Dan at Hypoxic, and Matt Peterson at Champ Racing. This is all your fault. We've had a blast hanging out with these guys, getting to know these guys. We've pitted for them in a few races. And really, it was the reason why we wanted to build an Ultra 4 car. Ultra 4 is not a regular race series. Everybody in Ultra 4 is family. Everybody helps everybody else. And we love that.
I'm going to run it through here on an angle. Once we get these out, once you get past these welds, it'll come loose. Or I can go under here with the creeper also.
And to clarify, these are literally the only 2 bars halfway holding this into one piece.
Dangity! Look at us go! Hey, it's articulating. It's like a rock truck.
Yeah, we just put a pivot in the middle.
Yep.
Shoot, she's probably still stiffer than your XJ.
Why you gotta be like that, man?
Our plan here as a team is kind of to get out and run a couple of races before King of the Hammers, because we do not want to show up in California untested. So we're going to be at the Ultra 4 race in Montana in June. We're going to be at the Ultra 4 race in Sturgis in August. And word from Ultra 4 is they're going to relocate the Nationals in October. So we're not sure where we're going yet in October. But we are going to run those 3 races in shakedown mode for Hammers. Oh, man. You know, I go back to my previous comment about all the sparks by the gas can. There may be some fumes in this shop right now. Hopper may have breathed all those in, or that's just how he is. If you're really bored, go to YouTube. Check out the channel Doing Stuff with Hopper. That's Hopper's YouTube channel. Hopper reached out to his favorite company in the whole world, Nathan's Hot Dogs. They said they weren't really into the off-road racing. I can't understand why, but they said they'd be happy to tag us or let us tag them in any social media. So big shout out to Nathan's Hot Dogs, even though they wouldn't sponsor Hopper. Somebody needs to get to corporate and have a discussion about that.
Well, I've got to cut this tube all the way through with a 4-inch angle grinder. You can't make it all the way through. So you either got to take the time to take this whole thing out, or you just got to do a slot cut down through it.
And then we can patch that later when we put it back in.
Yeah, and most of this is going to have new gussets.
Yep, going to be over-gusseted, over-braced. We've seen the carnage that we could bring on ourselves here at some of these races. All right, we've spent the last month planning this out. Our text thread has to have at least 500,000 messages going through it between the 4 of us. So we had a pretty good plan. We knew the plan would get altered a little bit. We're cool with that. But hey, we're not just winging it here. If you've never met Joe Gould, you know. He don't want to do something that somebody else has done. This is going to be a one-off deal. And hopefully it works, and we'll see what happens from there. The most technical tool we will use all night, we will incorrectly use a straight screwdriver. Everybody's grandfather is rolling over in their graves watching Hopper do this with a screwdriver.
I still got some grinding to do, fellas.
Oh, look at that, look at that. Hold that up as a trophy. Right now, every engineer that works for Polaris Industries is cringing at what we are doing.
Yeah, I'm going to sawzall it.
Yep.
And then I got to do this cut and this cut and this cut. And we're just going to keep these brackets right in place.
Okay.
When this has to come up, then we'll make a zip in here. You laughed at me for bringing a Sawzall, and I told you I'd use it.
Guys, I begged him to use real tools to cut this.
If there's any people out there with like tool sponsorships or hookups like that, we could use some tools. Like my grinder, you have to keep holding the button to keep it running. And yeah.
And you ought to see Joe's toolbox.
No, you don't. You do not. That's embarrassing.
So shout out to Snap-on, Boxo Tools, Gear Wrench, any of you guys. We would be happy to rep you.
Not
at King
Harbor
of
Freight.
Requested to update what we're doing here. These are horrible. What we're doing is cutting. We're trying to cut 12 inches out of our wheelbase so it's longer than a 2-seater, shorter than a 4-seater, because my wife has no idea what we're doing. So that's what we're doing. We're cutting in half, then putting it back together so it's shorter than a 4-seater, longer than a 2-seater. So we're gonna rock it out next year. Actually, this year.
Yeah. Jennifer, in your defense, we don't really know what we're doing either, so that's totally understandable. Yeah.
Little guy hung up over here somewhere.
Tap it with a hammer up, maybe on the back side.
This is not on the jack stand.
Why don't you put it back on the jack stand?
Yeah, I can let it down on the jack. Oh, God. Now it just rolls right away.
What the heck? What have we done?
It's front wheel drive. Ish.
All right. And this here, that's the last piece to come out. Woo! Guess what? The good news is, look what came out.
The bungs.
Is yours? Hey, cap of the bungs.
They just touched bungholes. I saw that. That's going on the internet. You can't ever take that off the internet.
So we'll square all these up like I said before. We clean everything up. Machine the bungs. At high stress points, I go 6-inch long on the bungs and actually do a taper at the end of the bungs, because if you do a square inside a square, it's prone to crack right there. So you do a little taper to relieve a little stress in case you have movement in the tube. You can roll it back and you get an idea what it's going to look like. So you just got to hold these off. Of course, we got to cut these still. So once we cut the rest of this bracket out, that slides together. So right there, it's 8 inches shorter. Modify this bracket so it comes into this bracket, 12 inches out of the frame into 2021. So in essence, we're going to have a 2-seater super cab. All of our tools will be stored back here, drive shafts, extra parts. Spare tire goes back on a rack that we're going to build that goes on the back of the CageWorks cage with integrated rear bumper.
Some people might refer to this as a Turbo X. No? Still not sold on that?
Turbo?
Turbo.
Turbo
X.
X.
No? Not quite?
You gotta find something that rolls off the tongue.
And thank you to all 16 people that watched this.
You are
That was
amazing.
great.
You're beautiful people.
I tell you that we're doing this for you, but we are not. We are totally doing this for ourselves.
I'm doing this for notoriety.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with us.
Good night. Farewell.
God bless America.
Rocky Mountain.
Amen.